to Yarn Inspirations and to
Ready to go?
Michael's for inviting me back because it's a joy to be here. I do want to start off and say that this is an intermediate class, so I will be moving along fairly quickly, assuming that you already understand how to do basic crochet. As Ali mentioned, the class is recorded, so you will be able to go back and rewatch different segments if you happen to miss something. The pattern is unique. It's actually, I've never done a hat pattern constructed this way, so we're kind of learning a little bit together as we work along with this pattern. It's very different, but I'm excited to do it. I mean, why not? Let's do something fun. Um, I will be using two different colors of worsted weight yarn today. I just have a white and a pink. And as I mentioned earlier, I'm going to be using an H hook because that worked better for me than the I hook. So I am using that. The pattern is in the chat, so you could go in there and grab that if you want to. And I'm excited to have you down, Boogie Down Bronx. I love it. Okay, so let me make sure this says continue. If you don't know me, my name is Marley Bird. I'm a Stitch Ambassador with Yarn Inspirations. I've written several books. I have my own blog and I have my own YouTube channel, the Marley Bird YouTube channel. I love to knit and crochet and I love teaching it. So hopefully you guys will enjoy this as much as I do. All right, so if you have the pattern, we are going to jump in with the bunny ear up crochet. Bunny ear up crochet. Bernat Bundle Up, bunny ear up crochet. That's a tongue twister. Allie, you gave it to me. It's a tongue twister. I already struggle. Like, seriously? No. Okay, so this is a one size to fit a baby 3 to 6 months. Just to give you guys a heads up that that's what this is. As far as special stitches, it says single crochet two together is the only thing that I have listed on the special stitches. And that's really all I have found so far. It's the construction itself that I find interesting, the way it's getting developed from what I've worked up so far. And we're going to start off here at the beginning. So I'm going to go ahead and jump over here to my hands, Bianca. Bianca is our friend from Michael's here taking care of us. So we're going to say, hi, Bianca. Okay, so right here, I have what I've started to work up from the first part of the instructions. So this was a chain 33 loosely and then begin working in this pattern, okay? Let's get started. We're going to start off with our main colors. We're going to start off with whatever your main color of your hat's going to be. And let's go ahead and chain 33 and work through row 1, 2, and 3, because then you will repeat 2 and 3 4 more times to get like this jagged look, okay? What's interesting about this is one end, we're going to do slip stitches on one particular row, and then you'll actually work single crochet through the back loop only over those slip stitches over just these 7 stitches, and then single crochet down and then leave stitches open. It's very different. I had to read through it several times and then I was like, oh, okay, I understand. All right, so I'm going to set that aside. I'm grabbing my white. Hopefully you guys can see this as I start working at it, even though I have a white background. I'm just going to start off with a slip knot on my hook and chain 33. All right. Actually, I'm going to chain last just because I want to be able just to get through some of these with you. All right, so I'm going to call that good just for this little swatch. So you will chain 33. And it says that this first row you're going to be creating, that's going to be considered a right side. So when you're done with that row, you can always take a marker and mark it as your right side. So that way we know what it is later on. And we're going to start off. I split that yarn. Let me just fix that real quick. We will start off with a single crochet in the second chain from hook and a single crochet all the way down. So this first row is just single crocheting. So you don't count the loop right behind, or you don't count the loop on your hook. That's the first chain from hook. This is the second chain from hook. We will single crochet just right into it. And we'll do that all the way down the row. And we'll get 32 single crochet if you did 33 chains. I have such a hard time when it's silent like this and not feeling the silence with like a joke or something. It's really hard for me. You know the struggle is real, Allie. The
I
struggle
do. I'm very bad at counting stitches and like doing anything else though, so I can also sympathize there.
yep, that's me,
Gosh forbid you interrupt me when I'm counting.
right? All right, so when you get all those single crochets to the end, I'm going to pause a second because you might not be to the end yet because I have fewer than 33 on my little swatch here. So I'm going to just wait here for a second. If you're not viewing my hands, Bianca, there's a question here that somebody says they can't see the hands. Is there a special thing that she needs to do?
Yeah, so I was about to type to you. You want to make sure that you're in speaker view, and then sometimes it may help to go out of the meeting and jump back in because it's yeah, to be able to view the demo.
Okay. All right, so I'm at the end of what would be considered row 1. And when I mention marking this row as the right side, what I mean by that is before you turn your work, okay, I know at the end of the row it says turn, but before you turn your work, just take a marker and I literally just put it on the front side of that fabric, just like so. Okay. All right, and now I'll go ahead and turn my work and we're going to begin row 2. All right, so let me come over here, make sure I have it on my screen. I'm sorry, I clicked and it moved, so I got to pull it up. Okay, row 2. So this is the row we're going to end up repeating. Row 2 and 3, we will repeat to get that sort of jaggedness happening. So here's what we're going to do. We start off with the chain 1. All right, so we start off with the chain 1. Then it's slip stitch into the first single crochet. So this is my first single, so I'm going to do a slip stitch. So yarn over, pull up a loop, and then pull that loop through. Now it says single crochet into each single crochet all the way to the last 7. Well, that's really tricky for me to be like, well, where's the 7? So I'm going to pause right here and I'm going to grab, this is what I do, guys, because I find it easier. I'm going to grab a different color marker and I'm going to start and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So like that's my 7th one. And oh, ironically, I marked on the other side too. I'm just going to mark it for myself so I know that when I get to that particular stitch, I need to then work something different. Okay, so I'll check it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You see what I did there? Just at the end of the row, I pre-counted the 7 that I'm going to work differently because I'm supposed to just work single crochets up to that point and then work something different there. I find it easy to use stitch markers like that because that's what they're there for, is to help you out. Okay, so I did a slip stitch in the first one. Now I'm going to single crochet over to my marker. Or as the pattern is written, is single crochet over to the last 7 stitches. And I use a different color marker so that way I don't get it confused and think that all of a sudden this is the right side. All right, so there's my marked stitch. What am I supposed to do? 1 slip stitch in each of the last 7. So I should just put a slip stitch into each of these. And it doesn't indicate that I'm supposed to put a slip stitch on the back loop or anything. So I'm just going to go through both legs and work a slip stitch. Now here is something that I did notice. As you're doing these slip stitches, you can accidentally start to make them too tight. So when you pull this yarn through and then put that, so now that loop is on your hook, make sure that loop is the same size as your hook. And essentially, if you were to lay the loop on your hook, like lay it down, like so, it should be the same distance from this point to this point as that front leg of the next stitch. Does that make sense? See how it's the same? If I tightened it up, see how now it'd be too short? It's shorter. I want to make sure it's the same distance, and that'll make sure that you don't accidentally tighten these stitches up over here too much. See how that's perfect? I just did a chain. I didn't mean to do a chain. You don't want these slip stitches to come out too tight. Otherwise, this part of your hat will come out all of a sudden more trapezoid than what we need it to be. All right, so those are my 7. Now I'm supposed to turn. So I'm at the end of row 2 and I turn. I'll pause a second because I know you guys are doing a little bit more stitches than me. Trying to get myself some yarn because I left my other one attached still. So I'm trying to work at both ends of the yarn. How many of you do that? You're like, oh, I'll just leave that one there. And then you're just like, oh, it's all tangled. I hate it when I do that. All right, let me grab some yarn here. Okay. So I'm starting row 3, and this row is also one that I will end up repeating, but we begin this row a little bit differently. In these 7 stitches here, we are going to work a single crochet in the back loop only. So I will start off with my chain 1 and then working in the back loop only. Okay, this back loop only right there. I'm going to single crochet. Back loop only, single crochet. Back loop, single, back loop, single, back loop, single, back loop, single. I think that's my last one, but I'm going to count to make sure. Just make sure I go to the back loop, maybe. Split the yarn, I'm sorry. So I'm just going to count to make sure I did 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, that's perfect. I can take this marker and I can go ahead and put it through that stitch behind the loop on my hook, because now I've marked my 7th stitch, which will help me when I have to repeat row 2. I know where my 7th stitch is now, because the next part of this instructions, it says single, it said, now listen to this because I got a little confused with this. 1 single crochet in each single crochet to the last one. So that means I'm not going to single crochet in the last single. Remember, we started with a slip stitch. So I'm not going to single crochet into the last one. I'm going to single crochet to the last one. Okay, single crochet to the last single crochet. And that will be leaving, and then I'll be able to leave that last single crochet and the slip stitch completely unworked. That's what's going to give us that jagged nature. Okay, so going through both loops now, I will single crochet over to the last single crochet. You see that? So that I leave the slip stitch and the single crochet there, and I finish. When I was doing these single crochets, I was working through both loops. I was working through both loops because it doesn't indicate whether I'm supposed to go through just the front or just the back. So unless the pattern tells you to just go through the front or the back, you're supposed to go through both. Whereas over here with these 7, it said to just go through the back. Okay. All right, so it says repeat the last 2 rows 4 times more. So that more is very important because that lets you know that, hey, these rows right here you just did, that doesn't count as one of the 4. It's telling you to do it 4 times more. Okay, so we have to do this 4 times more. So what I will do is I go back to row number 2. So at the end of 3, it says turn. So I'm at row 2. So I would chain 1. Start with my slip stitch, single crochet over to the last 7 stitches. This is where that marker really comes in handy. So I don't have to pause each time and count the 7, right? All right, so I single crocheted over to my marker, and I know from my marker on, those are my 7 stitches. So in these 7 stitches, according to row 2, I'm supposed to slip stitch in each of them. So I will go into each one. I'm going to move the marker So I'll slip stitch into the first one, and then I'm going to go ahead and mark that so that way I know where it is as we're coming back on the next row. I'll slip stitch in the next. Again, remember not to make these too tight. As this loop here gets finished, as this one pulls through this loop here should be the same like width, I guess, as this one, okay? So as I pull it through, see how it's the same width? It doesn't shorten up my stitch. That's gonna be very important so that you don't shorten up that edge of your hat. It's very, very, very common when you're doing slip stitches like this to have one edge get a little bit tighter than the other because you start to get comfortable and you tighten those up. All right, so that's the end of row 2. So we've already done row 3. We know how to do it. So we know we turn, we chain 1. And in the first stitch here, we're going to go into the back loop only. So I'll go to the back loop only and single crochet. Everybody with me so far? All right, so here's the kicker. So if we just continued on with this, I think that would take up the whole hour that we have. So in the interest of trying to work through this pattern and make sure you know what to do when we're done here, I think I need to jump ahead and try and work through the rest of the pattern with you guys just to show you how this all works. Is that cool with all of you? Because I'm assuming that's why you're here, is to learn how to do this. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Okay. So you would repeat 2 and 3, as I said, 4 times more. So if I counted correctly on mine, I think that's where I am. So we're going to check here. So here's my marker saying that this is my right side. Here's my row 1. Here's my row 2. Here's my row 3. Okay, so this is my row 3. So 4 times more. There's 2, there's 3. That's 1 time. There's my 2, there's my 3. That's 2 times. There's my 2, there's my 3. That's 3 times. There's my 2, there's my 3. That's 4 times. So I think I did 1 too many, right? Oh, no, I did. Okay, so that's 4 times. And then it says the next row, do a row 2. So it's the same thing. So I went back and I did a row 2. All right, because you know how to do a row 2. So I went ahead and did it. So by the time yours is done, you should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points. Does that help? Okay. So you did the 4, and then it says next row, work a row 2. So that's where I am here. That's where I finished off. Or I didn't finish off, but that's where I stopped. So that's where I'm going to pick this up and continue. Everybody with me here? Give me a nod. Yeah, cool. Thank you. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and turn. Nope, I've turned my work. My work is over here waiting for me. I'll put the loop in. And I'm on the instructions where it says next row, and it's after we just did the row 2. I will start off with the chain 1, and we're going to single crochet in the back loop only in the first 7. All right, so back loop only. All right, so that's my first 7, single crochet in the back loop only. Can you see the fabric that you're getting at this end? It's kind of ribbing-esque, it looks. All right, now it says 1 single crochet in each single crochet to the last single crochet. So once again, to the last single crochet would put me right here. That leaves this single and that slip stitch. Okay, so it's the same thing, to the last single crochet. And then it says 1 single crochet in the next single, 1 single crochet in the next slip stitch 5 times. Well, you're like, well, I've run out of room here. Where am I going? You're going to be working along this edge. Okay, here we go. See what I mean about it being tricky? It's a trickster. Tricky little hobbitses. I know. All right, so I'm going to single crochet to the last single crochet. And if you're reading the pattern, you notice that it has that parenthesis there. Just like when you were in algebra or anything where it said anything inside the parentheses, you would do that the number of times outside the parentheses. It's the same thing in crochet. All right, so now that's my single crochet. That's to my last. So in this last one, I'm supposed to put one single crochet in the next single, one single crochet in the next slip stitch. Well, that's kind of hard to do. It's a slip stitch, right? I'm just going to stick it in the best I can and single. And then it says do that 5 times. So now I'm going to drop down here to this one, to that single. I'll do a single there and a single into that slip stitch with it. Not gonna lie, guys, the Susan Bates pointy hooks really help get into that slip stitch. All right, so here's the next one. Get into that slip stitch. And the last one. Okay, and then it says turn 32 single crochet. So do I have 32 now? Let's count. Oh, 32 single. So do I count the back loop only? I'm guessing I do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. I love it when that happens. This is where I would celebrate with some M&Ms. Okay, so we are now where it says next row, we're down here. Now it says repeat from the double star to this double star once more. So looking through the instructions, you're going to do all of this one more time. So this right here was 32 single crochets on row 1, right? That's where we are right here. We're back to row 1, and now we're going to repeat and create another section. Y'all with me on that? All right. I feel like I've got to do it. Like, I'm going to try and go through quickly. I'm going to give myself, let's see how far I can get in 10 minutes. Because in order to do the shape, the face opening, I have to be at the next part, right? Well, no, here. You'd repeat through this once and you'd get back to where it was another set of this right there. And then you would follow the next part of the instructions for the face opening. So I'm going to just tell you guys, you're going to repeat all this one more time. Okay. And then you're going to jump into the next part. Now I'm going to jump to the next part right now as if this was the second time. Does that make sense? Yes? Okay. Josie, you look confused. You okay? Okay. I'm just making sure, girlfriend. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to pretend, wibble wobble. We have a second one here. We're going forward. So this would be my row 1. Oh gosh. All right. So that last one, I'd finish here and it says turn. All right. So this would be turn and this would be row 1. So I would chain 1. So this is as if I'm doing the shape face opening upper part. Chain 1, slip stitch in the first single crochet. All right, slip stitch. 1 single crochet in the next 14 single crochets. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Now it says turn. So you're going to leave all of that unworked. So I turn, row 2, chain 1, single crochet in each single crochet to the last. So once again, we're leaving some jagged edges here. And it's on the same side where we had technically left them before. Okay. So there's my slip stitch, there's the single, so it would be here. All right, and then turn, chain 1, slip stitch into the first, single crochet, single crochet in each single crochet to the end of the row. So I'm going to go all the way to the end of the row. Right there, turn. Repeat the last 2 rows twice more. So I go back to row number 2, chain 1, single crochet in each single crochet to the last, and turn. Chain 1, slip stitch in the first, single crochet to the end. So that was 1 repeat. I need to do it one more time. So this is the single crochet to the last one, and leave it. So this would be row 2. Turn, slip stitch, and single crochet to the end. All right, so I did that twice more. You guys see where we are here? So the next row, we would chain 1. We're on the right side. So this is a chance for me to check for my marker, because the instructions say when it just says next row, sometimes I get confused. So I always try to make sure if it says right side or wrong side, I just pay attention to make sure I see my marker. So I have right side there, a chain 1, single crochet in each single crochet to the last one. All right, so that is my last one right there. Work at the end of the row, 1 single crochet in the next single, 1 single crochet in the slip stitch. And then you're gonna do that 4 times. So just like before, you're gonna drop down here, go to your single, go to your slip stitch, go to your single, go to your slip stitch, get in there. Go to the single, go to the slip stitch. Okay, so I should have 15 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I think I skipped a stitch right there. I'm gonna come back up. So see, it's very important you always absolutely count. I think it's right here. Okay. It's so quiet, Allie. What's happening over there?
There is a question about enlarging this pattern. I do know that it's a unique shape
Yeah.
and that it didn't have size adjustments. in this particular pattern?
Because of the unique shape, I'm not really sure how you would size it larger, with the exception of in the area before the 7 up here. So let's see, here's your 7 down here. So this 7 here, and then you have all of these jagged sections here. So it's the section between the jagged, this part here is what you want to make longer, and you could keep this the same, or maybe you do, if you need it more around, you would have to do, instead of just the repeats of 4 times for the 2 and 3, maybe you'd have to repeat it more to get even more of a shape. Does that make sense? Like it's a lot of extra math that would have to go into it. Okay, Cindy's giving me thumbs up. Thank you. Thank you, Cindy. All right, so we're back to 15. You can see where the face is opening up right there, huh? See down here, this ribbing? It's kind of neat. I mean, it's unique, isn't it, guys? I mean, look, you're doing the shaping on the top of the hat, and you're doing, this is the body of the hat, and this is the ribbing at the bottom of the hat. It's really cool. It's gonna be honest, I would never think of this because it's very geometric. Like and my brain doesn't work this way. But it's not a bad thing. So the next row, it just says next row. I would chain 1, slip stitch in the first, and then single crochet, 1 single crochet in each single crochet to the end of the row and turn. So I'm going to go all the way to the end. So I should have 15, or it'll be 14 single crochets because that first one was a slip stitch. And then you would repeat all of those instructions again. You see that where it says repeat all of that one more time, and then it says fasten off. So you would actually like finish it. Now, knowing that we're like, okay, I can see how to read these instructions. I can see how this construction is working up, right? Because it's pretty similar. It's the same, basically, you know, how you're coming down and looking at all the shaping and stuff. So this shorter section here, you would repeat it one more time. So that would be like the top of the head. Can you guys see that? So that was the first part. You'd have one extra part over here. That would be the top of your head. Then it says for the lower part, where am I on time? 34. What was that last thing? Somebody just said something.
Can you please show how to fasten off?
Like finish off the work? Oh, yeah, I'm trying to decide if I have enough time to do one more section of this. How long did that part take me? Do you guys know? If I just cruise through this, do you guys think we could do it?
Cindy's
I
Cindy's
see some
thinking.
yeses, I see some no's. All right, I'm gonna try this. So I'm gonna chain 1, and then this. So I'm on row 2. I'm going back to row 2, right? Because that's what it says. Repeat from the triple star to the triple star once more. So I'm going back to row 2 where it's the triple star. So I chain 1, and then I'm going to put a single crochet in each one to the last. So here I go. And I'm going to just flat move, guys, because at the end of this one, I can show how to fasten off. And essentially, I mean, if you want me to talk you through it, just cut your yarn, leaving at least like 5 inches. And the loop that's on your hook, just pull it until the yarn comes through the stitch. And that's how you will fasten off. All right, so now I'm on this side. So this would be row 3, and I just single crochet all of these to the end of the row. You guys ever done like a crochet, like fastest crocheter test or anything like that? I always get so nervous and I end up splitting my yarn and just like, no. All right, this one. Oh, I was supposed to start off with a slip stitch on that first one. Anybody else catch that? Somebody should have told me. It would not have been the end of the world, but it just makes for better shaping on this end with that slip stitch. Now I'll single crochet. Talk to me, Allie. Tell me what's happening.
I think we're doing good.
Okay. How many of you are working along with me? Let's see the picture. Let's see. Hold up your work to the camera. Let me see ya. Oh, look at you guys. You're doing it. You're doing it. It's not so hard, right? Like once you, I mean, it's just single crochets. Look at you, Gabby. She's on a roll. Once you understand what the instructions are telling you to do, it's like, oh, okay, I got this. But it's just tricky there at the start, I think. Even I was like, what? I had to read it a couple times. And I'm like, oh, okay, I understand what it's telling me to do. So that's my single, that's my slip, chain one, start with a slip, and then single. All right, and over here. Did I do one too many rows or am I good? I think this is, I'm gonna pause and count. I think this is where I am because this will be where it's the single and this, and then the single and the slip stitch 4 times. That's 1, 2, 3. So I need to do one more. Okay. Did you guys all catch that? How I worked through counting? I like count through the stitches to see what I have available to work through that, the one that says next row where I'm going down the jagged edge. I count through those. Chain one, and then here we go. So this is the row where I will do that. So there's 2 the single crochet. So there's a 1 in the single, 1 in the slip stitch, 1 in the single, 1 in the slip stitch. You can always use your hook to get into the slip stitch if you ever struggle with that. One in the single, 1 in the slip stitch, last one, 1 in the single, 1 in the slip stitch. Okay, and then this is where, so we repeated it one more time. We're going to fasten off. Here we go. I yarn over and pull through. Take my scissors, cut my tail. Just give that a full pull. All right. So obviously this would be bigger because you'd have a whole nother section like this over here on this side. So I would be, you know, pretty good here. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Can you guys see what this looks like? It's like this is the top of the hat at the front, and I only did one of those repeats, remember? So I would have another one, which would essentially be meeting up over here. Yeah? Okay, good. Everybody sees that. Okay. So if it's laid out flat, there you go. So I'd have one more of these right over here. That's fascinating. Oh, I apologize. I apologize. Ah, come on. Oh, of course. All right, can you see, it's back to landscape, isn't it? Or I mean portrait. All right, so I'm gonna go to landscape. Just takes me a second. I apologize.
That's okay.
It happens. And of course, it happens again. I hate this. Okay. Oh, goodness gracious. All right, so I'm gonna have it tilted up a little bit like this so we can make this work. Okay, here we go. So the next part, how's everybody doing, by the way? Everybody good? Yeah, okay, let me see your work. Oh, looks so good. Wow, look at all of that, Allie.
Y'all are impressive.
It's really, really pretty darn awesome.
I'm a slow stitcher. So
It looks really good. It looks really good. Okay, so now let's take a look at what the lower part is. I've about 20 minutes left, y'all. Okay, so the lower part, it says with the wrong side facing, work across the stitches of the main body, skip the next 7 stitches, join yarn with the slip stitch in the back loop of the next. Wow, that's not confusing at all. Okay, so we have, so if this were here, so with the wrong side facing, working across the remaining stitches of the main body. So my guess, this is the main body, right? And then it says skip the next 7 stitches. So these are our 7 stitches. That's my back end. Is that what it's telling me? Okay, skip the next 7 stitches, join yarn with the slip stitch to the back loop of the next single crochet. That's my right side. With wrong side facing, work across the remaining stitches of the main body, skip 7, join yarn with the slip stitch to the back. And then wrong side, chain 1, single crochet 2 together. This doesn't make sense to me, Allie.
there is a note in right above finishing that says repeat from star to star twice more. To create the face opening.
With the wrong side facing, okay, here's my right side, here's my wrong side. So am I looking at this part? It says the main body. This is the main body. Skip the next 7 stitches. So I'm guessing these. Join yarn with the slip stitch at the back loop of the next single crochet. Wrong side. I just don't, unless it's this way, working this way, because that would 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But I'm working, these would be the exposed loops of the foundation chain. Chain 1, single crochet 2 together, 1 single crochet in the next single crochet, 1 slip stitch in each of the last 7. It's got to be here. It has to be right here. Okay, so let's work through this. So chain 1. I gotta work through this in my head. So chain 1, single crochet 2 together, single crochet in the next single, slip stitch in each of the last 7. So that would be here. So skip 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Join here in the back loop only is what it says. Let me grab. I'm gonna work through this. Join with the slip stitch in the back loop only of the next single crochet, chain 1. Right, so there's my slip stitch. Here's my chain 1. So single crochet 2 together. So am I through the, all right, we'll just single crochet 2 together. So there's that, and it doesn't say through the back loop only. So I'm going to go into the same one I did, yarn over, pull up a loop, go to the next one, yarn over, pull up a loop. Right there, this makes sense. All right, so I single crochet 2 together. This puts me right here, 1 single crochet in the next single, slip stitch in each of the last 7. I'm at my 7, so I'm going to slip stitch into each of these. Yep, that's it. 7. Did everybody see that? All right, so the instruction said with wrong side facing, chain, and then we would work across the remaining stitches of the main body. So this is the main body. This is the top of the hat. This is the main body. Skip 7 stitches. So I started from right here and I skipped 7. And it says join yarn with the slip stitch in the back loop of the next single crochet. So that's what I did. And then I went to row 1. So I didn't turn or do anything. So I'm still on the wrong side. I chained 1. I single crocheted 2 together right there. And then I put a single crochet in the next stitch. And then it was 1 slip stitch in each of the next 7, which keeps this part consistent right there. Okay. So now I will chain 1, or I'll turn and chain 1, or chain 1 and turn. It really doesn't matter. You'll notice we're still maintaining the stitch pattern down here on these 7. So I'll single crochet in the back loop only on this first one, and the next 6 of them to give me 7. Okay. Single crochet and back loop only in each slip stitch to the last 2 stitches, single crochet 2 together and turn. All right, so I don't want to do 7, so I'm going to undo 2 of them. So there's the last 2, and now I single crochet 2 together and turn. Slip stitch, sorry, 1 single crochet in the back loop only in each slip stitch to the last 2 stitches, single crochet 2 together and turn. So the last, and single crochet back loop into the last, not just the 7, into all of them. So there's 1, those are the last 2. So I'd single crochet 2 together and turn. I wish they had like the stitch count you would have right there at that point. So turn and chain 1. Now it says single crochet 2 together. One slip stitch in each single crochet to the end of the row. So we're going to do a slip stitch into each one, the end of the row. One more. And turn. 1 single crochet in the back loop only in each slip stitch to the end of the row. All right. Everybody else with me here? What are they saying, Allie? Everybody like, yeah, this looks right. This is the way I read it. So I'm essentially working over to where I did my single crochet 2 together and then the one right before it. And then it's decreasing down.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think we're all
Okay.
there.
Okay, good.
Seems like we're making the ribbing that would go underneath your neck right now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying too.
Underneath your chin.
Oh, I guess I'm not decreasing that one. So this one I'm just going all the way to the end. I got excited about my single crochet 2 togethers. Oh, am I supposed to be working in the back loop? I just went to the front. In the back loop. Okay. Yes, chain 1, slip stitch in each single crochet to the end. So we're going to slip stitch in all these. Yeah, I agree. That's what it appears to me as well, which makes sense when it says the lower front. All right, you guys see what's happening here? Like we got ourselves a nice little curve. So if this were laid down, this is the top. So we've got ourselves a nice little curve coming down here into this ribbing portion. And it says repeat the last 2 rows 3 more times. So we would just, it's essentially this one, we're just going straight back and forth. Yes, Allie, do you have a picture of the finished hat? I think I do.
Yes, I will pop that in the chat.
Okay, thank you. I can try and open it up and share screen.
I apologize. We do normally get like our teachers to have the finished samples, but this one didn't arrive in time. So
yeah, I don't have it. Okay, so I'm guessing with the rest of it, I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory in the sense of you repeat these 2 rows, which we know how to do. If I'm reading the next, it tells you the same thing. It's telling you then to start increasing. So as you're decreasing on this end, when you get to the opposite side, actually over here, we're going to increase out to get more stitches. That's what it reads, because it says to the last slip stitch, 2 single crochet back loop in the last single crochet and turn. So then you're increasing. And then it says the next row, which you'd be on a wrong side row, 2 single crochet in the first, which is another increase. So you'd be back to another stitch count. I will actually make a suggestion to the Yarn Inspirations team that they add the stitch counts as they're either decreasing stitch counts or adding stitch counts. They should be adding those. Those numbers need to be in there because we need to know what our stitch counts need to be. So I'm going to make that suggestion before they do the full PDF. And then it says joining row at 1 single crochet back loop only in each last stitch. And then so the joining row essentially is when you get to the end, you're going to end up working through these open loops that we have over here where we started and joining them together by single crocheting to the last row that you'll have. So that'll make the whole hat one big round. So there's no seaming. That's kind of convenient. Does that make sense? Everybody good with that so far? See what I mean about it feeling like it's like origami? Like it's way too geometry for me. But the stitch counts would really help down here because that would let you know, hey, we're decreasing down to give more room for the face and then increasing up over here at the end. Once you get this portion of the hat done, the ears appear to be very simple. I've already made one. You end up making 4 of these. You make 2 outer ears and then 2 inner ears, and they're not written as, hey, you have this stitch count for the outer, this stitch count for the inner. They're both written the same. So my assumption there by reading the pattern is that you make 2 of your inner ear color, you make 2 of your outer ear color. So you should know how to do these stitches because it's just single crochets, right? So if you're working in the instructions, it tells you that you'll chain 9 and then you'll single crochet in the second chain from hook and in each one across. And then the next row, you'll single crochet and you do that 10 times. Okay, so that's where I am right here. I've done the first 2 rows and then I did a row 2 10 more times. Now, for those of you who don't know how to count your rows, like here's my little tip. This is what I do. I don't know if you can see this or not. Let me see if I can grab a pointy sort of thing to show you. If you're looking, so I know that this is my right side because I did mark it afterwards, after I did my first row. But if I put my little needle here underneath that first row, you see how those legs there, they look like a V. Can you see that? It's like the legs are it's like they're closed together. But then in the row above, the legs are spread apart. Can you see that? Like they're like this. Down here, they're like this. Up here, they're like this. You see what I mean? So as you're counting rows, what I do when I'm working with single crochets, I look for the legs together, the legs apart. So the legs together is 1, legs apart 2, legs together 3, legs apart 4, legs together 5, legs apart 6, legs together 7, legs apart 8. Does that make sense to everybody? Like it took me, and I'm just going to tell you guys, it took me years to kind of put that together. And I was like, well, would you look at that? So that's one of those ways that if you lose count, that's how I count my rows. Okay, so the legs apart and the legs together. It's just like looking at, this is the back side of the single crochet, this is the front side of the single crochet. And if you're turning your work back and forth, that's how you would read it. If you're working in the round, you would only see the front legs, right? They would all look like those legs together. So you would just count them going all the way up. Most useful thing you've learned in the class all day, right? Okay, so I'm at the point where I've reached my 10 more times and I'm ready to finish the last 3 rows. So they're identified as next row, next row, next row. So I'm going to do that, which they're just single crochet 2 together rows. Okay. So I've done my chain 1 and turn, or turn and chain 1. So I am on the first next row of the ears. I've done my chain 1. I single crochet in the first single crochet 2 together. So I go into the first one and pull up a loop, second one, pull up a loop, and then pull through all 3. Now it says single crochet in, let's see, 1 single crochet in each single crochet to the last 3. So 1, 2, 3. So I've got 2 more singles to do. So there's 1, 2, and then this one I'll do another single crochet 2 together. So that'll eat up 2 stitches, and then 1 single crochet in the very last. So what this is doing, it's starting to shape again. Once again, I wish I had a stitch count. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stitches now. All right. You had 8, now we have 6, which makes sense because you had 2 decreases. Repeat the last 2 rows. Oh no, sorry. And then repeat the last row until there are 4 stitches. So I will turn my work, chain 1. So on this one, we'll do a single crochet, single crochet 2 together, work single crochets to the last 3. So there's 1, 2, 3, right? So I'm already there. So I'll do a single crochet 2 together and a single crochet. All right, well, I'm down to 4 stitches. So I just had to repeat it once. So if you guys wanted to write that on your notes, just repeat it once. Okay, you're down to 4 stitches. Next row, turn, chain 1, single crochet in the first single, single crochet 2 together, single crochet in the last. Turn your work, chain 1, single crochet in the first single, single crochet 2 together. Fasten off. So you're left with 2 stitches here at the top. So I like to yarn over and pull through. So it's like I chain 1, cut my yarn, give it a pull and a tug. Now you have part of the ear. Okay, so this would be your inner ear. And then you'd make 2 white ones for the outer ear. And it tells you with the wrong side of the inner ear and the outer ear together. So the wrong side and the wrong side and the wrong side. So that way here, pretend this is the outer ear. You'd put them together just like so. So that way you have both the right sides facing out. And it says join the main color with a slip stitch at the bottom corner of the ears. So we're gonna pretend with these, okay, guys? Let me cut the yarn. I can use the main color. It says with wrong sides together, join main color with the slip stitch at the bottom corner of ears. So, and then it says chain 1, working through both thickness, work single crochet, single crochets evenly around edge of ears. Do not fasten off. Fold the ears at the foundation chains. Fold ears at foundation chains, having the inner ear inside, and crochet over hat in position as shown. Fasten off. I don't have an as shown, Allie. So I'm going to start at a corner. I'm just going to pop in both fabrics. I'm essentially just single crocheting these together, y'all. So I'll join with the slip stitch. Oops. Join with the slip stitch, and then chain 1, working through both thickness, work a single crochet evenly around the edge of the ears. So I would just work through both of them. Just kind of decide how you want to go through them, whether it's through a whole stitch like that, making a hole. Can you guys see how there's a hole there? Or what you could do is you can actually like go through the base of the row, whether there are chains there at the start, where it's a stitch, you can work through the actual stitches themselves, like the posts. For me, I don't mind the hole. I just go through it and just single crochet. As long as you're consistent around the whole thing, it's not going to make that big of a deal. Just consistently space them around. Everybody get this? Yeah? Allie, so my assumption here with this particular pattern, it says as shown. I don't have an as shown. My guess is that when you get a final PDF, you'll have a as shown image.
Yes.
What we could do is if we take a look at the actual finished image, we can kind of see how the placement is on the finished image. But can you guys see that? So I'm assuming, because I don't have a finished image in front of me. When it says fold at the foundation chain, I'm guessing it's gonna go like this, y'all. You know what I mean? So you actually get ears. And then you would sew this onto the actual hat. Does that make sense?
Yes, I think so.
I mean, it's cute. It's definitely cute.
It's really cute. Oh,
All right. How we feeling? How's it? You can go to my face. Goodness gracious, man. How you all feeling? Do you feel a little bit more confident? I mean, after looking at it, I know that for myself, I was like, what is going on? And it's just the nature of the way these things go when they're a unique design like this. You know, it can be a little bit tricky. I'm going to open up the hat pattern or not the hat pattern, the image, and I want to show it. I'm going to do a share screen real quick so that I can show you guys. If I can, here we go. Can you guys see that image? I can make it a little bigger. Hopefully that helps you see and envision how that would work. You see how the seam in the back there? This is what we did today. We did this entire front. We did half of this, and we started this portion here where it was the single crochet 2 togethers, worked across these, and then this is where you would work your increases, just a couple rows of increases, and then you're back to where you'll be back at the start, and you'll be doing this other half of the hat. Yeah?
yeah.
Okay. So the hat or the ears, these ears look super long compared to what mine are. Mine are not that long, but I'm using a different yarn. So plus I'm using a smaller hook. So you can make these as floppy or whatever you want. You can see how they're just crocheted directly onto the hat. They're probably just slip stitched on there. You could just whip stitch them on there too, guys. Don't feel like you got to do anything else. Just get them attached to the hat in some manner. Absolutely. All right. So I want to see all your pretty faces again. So I'm going to try and get back to where I don't do a share screen, but it's not giving me that option. There it is. Okay, I found it. Here I am. All right, awesome. How you guys doing? Yeah, I see smiley faces. I see a lot of thinking. It's a thinker. It's a thinker of a pattern for sure. You know, it's very unique and fun how it all comes together. You mean, think outside the box, guys. You could take this hat pattern itself, like if you're able to finagle it and make it bigger or whatever you need it to be. This is kind of a cool idea. Even just think of it as like it's the skull of something. Like think of it as that's the skull, and then you could do like sort of like latch hook hair to it and make like a cabbage patch sort of like spikiness to it. You don't have to add ears. You could do like pretend it's a wig in each row. Maybe you do a different color and make it look like it's stripes, like colorful stripes. There's a lot of options with just this pattern. It's too unique to not have some fun with it. Having said that, I mean, you don't have to do this front portion here. You know what I mean? You could make it to where it is just like it's a wig where it would pull on. And maybe you don't do that front portion. You just have something fun for somebody to wear. I mean, there's a lot of really fun things you could do. But yeah, it's adorable.
Awesome. Great. Well, thank you so much, Marley. And just as a reminder to everybody that you can get this class recording available online at michaels.com/classes. And we definitely look forward to seeing you in more classes.
Awesome. All right, guys.
Well, thank you all so much.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for the claps. I appreciate it.
Bye, everybody.
I was trying. Oh, pigtails. That's a great idea. Did you see that? Somebody said you should do pigtails.
Oh, that's cute.
That's a good idea. All right. Bye, guys. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.